We're on, we're on to part two, which is our networking session. And here, each of you will get 5 to 7 minutes to introduce your business. And I'll end with Donna. She'll bring everybody into conclusion. And then Elton will give us a conclusion. Ebony will give us a prayer. And then Elton will come in and give us some closing remarks. And then we'll close out the session. Does everybody agree to that plan? Okay. All right. So Dina is going to do a reading, and we love readings. So we're looking forward to this book. We'll be promoting this book all month long, all through March. And I don't know how many of you know Madam C.J. Walker.
Yes.
So we might be having a surprise. I'm not sure, but we remember we had Nicki Minaj, and so we might have some people coming from her organization. So there's going to be a lot of activities this month of March. We have a lot of events coming up, and so Dina's going to be with us throughout the month. And so I'm very excited with the program that we're putting together. And now last year, this is our third Women Business Empowerment, so we have some experience. But last year, we had a lot of victims of violence. If you remember, we had the woman, Betty, who was, her mother sold her to prostitution. We had childbirth, a child abuse victim. We had a woman who was abducted in her car, right on her doorstep, tell us her story. But this year, with Ukraine and the war, with Dina in leadership, we're going to have a lot of discussion about refugees, about war. And so I'm very excited because we're recruiting a fabulous panel of veterans and people who actually experienced this firsthand, and fiction. So fiction novelists put a nice twist to it. And I'd love to see this book become a movie. So we do actually have a couple of movie producers who will be coming to join Dina's panel, because I want to attract them to this book. So over to you, Dina, with your book reading. You are watching Brightside Global Trade. And if you're watching online and you do happen to buy Dina's book, show us a picture and we'll give you 2 tickets to our next event. So over to you.
Thank you. So I think, Tamisha, I'll just say to you, because you're coming in a little bit later, I mentioned earlier that the book Nermina's Chance is about the war in Bosnia. It started, book starts in 1992 in Bosnia, but the section that I'm going to be reading is about also a very important character in the book, and his name is Jeff. And he is a staff sergeant who was deployed in Afghanistan. So I'm going to read just a bit from that chapter.
Okay.
The Skype image of Lisa and the boys keeps freezing, muting Lisa's chatter mid-syllable. Her face, her hair a little greasy, pulled back in a ponytail, all pixelated. She angles the laptop so Jeff can see a 6-inch crack in the drywall above their dresser. Jesus, Lisa, Jeff says, that? It's no big deal. It makes me nervous. Forget about it. A few seconds later, Jeff sees his baby boys across the pale blue carpet like 2 diapered crabs. He remembers the rush of happiness when he and Lisa got the news. Double trouble, they joked about when the doc said twins. Then he got called up. Okay, it's nothing, Lisa says. Her tone is flat, dead calm. But somehow it crackles with dangerous current, the way the treeless highway feels at the start of every convoy. And the ice maker's not working again, she says. Jeff sucks in his breath. Lisa. A couple of seconds of silence, then a long, thin wail shrieks across the time zones, exacting and swift, like tracer fire in the night. Jeff feels the familiar ache and anger and guilt. The screen shows nothing but pale blue carpet. Oh, sweetie, Lisa coos. It's okay, baby. Baby, it's okay. Jeff's heart is pumping like right after the blast. He hears Lisa shushing one of their sons, cooing and shushing. What the fuck's going on, Lisa? Who's hurt? What the fuck? No crying then. Nothing. Radio silence. Lisa comes back on. She cradles the laptop and both boys. Ethan's round cheeks are splotchy from crying. Tyler reaches one pudgy hand for Lisa's earring. Jeff's breath returns. His lungs ache with relief. I gotta go, she says. They're hungry. Yeah, he says. And then a hair's width of a second after, Lisa logs off. I love you. Jeff lays on his cot in the early morning darkness. Rodriguez and Peter still asleep. He pictures Lisa back in their bungalow in Portland, sleeping too. Not the Lisa he'd left alone with their sons, or the Lisa on the Skype calls, but the Lisa from before. He tells himself this shit is normal. Him and Lisa, they know the drill. They've done it before. But this time he feels more alone. He's the old man on the tour. Thank God for Rodriguez, the only other NCO in his unit over 40. Bullshit, he thinks. He grabs his shaving stuff from his footlocker. He's just doing his job. And he's lucky. Hot showers, a weight room, and a rec center whenever they get back on the base inside the green zone in Jalalabad. During his last deployment 2 years before, he'd been stuck for all of 12 months at an FOB, one of the outposts that overlooked what command liked to call a population center. Hadn't looked like much to Jeff, just a bunch of crumbling stucco and mud houses and some dreary ass. His squad's quarters were even worse, not even a lousy porta-john. Had to wrap up their shit in foil bags and burn it. You never knew when the enemy would fire off an RPG from higher ground or strafe the outpost with sniper fire. Now, though, the province is mostly cleared of insurgents, and when their Humvees roll out, Jeff figures they've gained something in exchange for those long, dusty months. He grabs the soft blue towel that Lisa sent in her first care package. She'd included pictures of Tyler and Ethan. Their pudgy-cheeked little faces look down at him now from where he taped the photos inside his locker. In the 5 months he's been gone, the twins have morphed from babies into full-fledged little humans. He sees his own gray eyes in both of his boys, the pale red hair that's still peach fuzz, but will likely darken up the same rusty shade of red his is now. His eyes sting when he thinks of Lisa's pixelated face, of his boys. He shuts the locker on the pictures of his son, more real and therefore more heartbreaking than his real children, his real wife, and he wonders why this should be so. The spray peppers his shoulder blades like gravel. He tries to shake off the bad thoughts, the fear. Crazy thing is, he doesn't feel any safer inside the gates now than he had in 06 at the FOB. The enemy's actions were unpredictable then, and no less so now. If anything, they seemed more brazen, desperate. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you for that. I'm appreciative. Gives you a clear-minded perspective of the challenges that your character is facing, and puts it in real terms. I'm hearing.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. How about that? How about that?
Oops,
All
we
right.
had a little noise. Any questions about the book? I guess you have to buy the book. So yeah, we'll promote this as a Brightside Book Club selection. So we want you to get the book all through the month of March. So I don't know if you can see it, but you can see it on her backdrop. All right, we'll make sure you have
Yeah.
the link. Thank you so much. So here we are with the author, Dina Greenberg, Nermina's Chance, and make sure that you will have the link at the end of the video. And if you do happen to buy the book and love the book as much as we, then please show it to us and we'll give you 2 tickets to our next taping. And we are really planning a lot. It is the Women History Month, y'all. And so this is going to be an awesome month. So we're looking forward to that.